Hi, my name's Carl and welcome to Worth a Watch. If it's your first time at this channel, then please click the like and subscribe. It really helps us. We're up to nearly 300 subscribers now. Today we're going to be looking at a US based company, Praesidus. They are a New York based watch company. They're providing some really good military style watches that are throwbacks to the original A-11 that was in World War II. Now there's a couple of reasons why I chose to do a review on this watch. So Pacific Concepts were kind enough to send this watch in for review, but the two reasons why I'm quite keen on reviewing this watch. So first of all, I think it's a US based company that are doing military style watches, which I personally really like. They're donating 5% of each sale to war veteran charities, which I think is a really worthwhile cause. The second reason is that my grandfather was in World War II. He was a guy called Charles Standen. He lied about his age because he was a few months too early to join the army, but he had a father that had a military background, quite high up in the British Army, effectively ran away from Brighton, where he lived at the time, to join the army. He became a paratrooper in World War II, and he was a great guy. The only thing I knew about the war was the fact that he was shot in the leg whilst he was parachuting down into one of the war zones, but never really spoke about the war. I think he was aware that I was young and impressionable, probably thought that war was quite glamorous and didn't really want to play into that. But also I kind of get the feeling that he probably saw some horrific things and didn't really want to remember it. When he died, I remember going through some of his things, and he had a chest that had some war medals in it. Now, I'm not really high up on what medals they were. At the time, it was a few years back now, I think they went to my uncle. I kind of wish that I researched into that a little bit more. But I noticed he had a book that logged every campaign that he'd been on, and he had to have it stamped by the UK Armed Forces. And I wrote down some that I can remember, but I know that as a paratrooper, and they were one of the first paratroopers that the UK had, he served time with the Airborne Infantry Division of the British Army, and he served in France, Holland, Sicily and Africa. From what I can remember, there may have been more, but my little granddad, I would never believe in a million years had gone through all of that conflict. So I like the fact that you can look at something and it harks back to a piece of history. I kind of wish that I had something of my grandfather's now that I could keep as a bit of a memory from his time. So when I see reissues of military style watches, and I know that the specific watch is a remake of the A-11 service watch that was manufactured in a 32mm, which is quite a lot smaller, by companies like Elgin, Waltham and Belova. It was also one of the first to hack, which obviously would have been really important as a paratrooper. But I thought this company have done something really clever, which is they've made a really well-designed quality reissue, but they've also, from a marketing perspective, have a story, a real story that they can link it to create nostalgia. And Tom Rice, if you look on their website, tells a story of the fact that he was in the 101st Airborne Division, the paratroopers of the US, that served in the same conflicts as the UK. I know that they at least served in the same conflicts during Operation Market Garden in Holland. So these guys did a lot of the same fighting as my grandfather did, but he actually tried to jump out of a plane, and if I've got this correct, I think his watch saved him from severing his arm. They captured that story and they had honoured his memory whilst he's still alive of what he's done, and they even did a parachute jump with him to commemorate it with his family and friends. I thought it was a really nice touch, but also very clever from a marketing perspective. But for people like myself that love military aesthetic and like the story and like the idea of perhaps the fact that they donate to ex-war veterans, and then it's a type of company and watch that I feel I can get behind. So have a look at the watch, we'll go through the specs, and I'll tell you at the end my final thoughts. So this Praesidus watch comes in this package. It's the Type A-11 Tom Rice edition. It's a cardboard box. It's quite old-fashioned style, so it looks quite cool. Now, I've already unpacked this and worn the watch for over a week now, but the watch would be in here like this. You can pull up the keepers at the back. Inside you've got another set of straps, 22mm, so these are the nylons. Really thick nylon. I've got to be honest, it's taken some wearing to get in, but you can be assured that these will last and last. Very comfortable on. I've kept it on the leather, but in here you've got an international warranty which comes nicely in the form of a dog tag. So I'll just zoom in on this. So you've got a QR code there for the warranty and the servicing instructions. It's very nicely done. On here I've got the genuine leather strap, which I've got to be honest is really high quality, mega comfortable, and obviously it's got stitching here as well. Here's a view of the watch. I'll go through the measurements in a second. So the company is a US-based company, as I mentioned, called Pacific Concepts. The model is a Praesidus A-11 service watch. Now, the dimensions of this watch, they do a smaller version, which probably sits closer to something like a Hamilton Khaki Field mechanical. But this particular watch has a width of 42mm, which fits quite well on my 6 3/4 inch wrist. So I think that anyone from a 6.5 inch wrist and above, this would suit. It's got a case thickness of 10.8mm, and that's from front to back. The thickness of the actual watch itself though is 12.7mm, so that's including the double domed K1 glass, which to my understanding is a similar standard to Seiko Hardlex crystal. The lug to lug is 49.6mm, so under that 50mm mark, not too much overhang if you're wearing one of the supplied either leather or nylon straps. Talking of the straps, it's got quite a wide 22mm strap. Now I did think that might look a little bit large, however with the 42mm width it actually fits quite nicely. The nylon strap especially looks really good on the 22mm size. Now I've worn this watch for just over a week and there's a couple of observations that I've made. So the first one is the leather strap is really comfortable, and also the nylon is quite a hard one to break in, but it's incredibly good quality. It does a little bit of a magic trick in terms of it's a reasonably large watch, but it weighs nothing on the wrist. Now, on the leather, it actually weighs 70 grams. If you compare that to another watch I own, which is the Hamilton Khaki Field on a nylon strap, that weighs 59 grams. So there is a difference of 11 grams between the two. However, on wrist, genuinely, you cannot tell the difference. Both watches feel like they disappear on your arm, which is interesting. I don't know if that's because the quality of the straps are so good that it takes a little bit of the weight off the top of your wrist, but it wears incredibly comfortably. The case is a stainless steel sandblast finish with high polished looks. The movement is the stalwart Seiko NH35. It has a brown nylon strap and a leather strap, 22mm, as I've mentioned earlier. The K1 mineral glass is double domed, and it does have a noticeable blue anti-reflective coating. It does a very good job. There is a slight blue hue in the light, but it's nothing overpowering. So you've done a very good job with this for the price. It's 50 meters of water resistance. So again, not the type of watch that you would go into the swimming pool with, but you know, it will suit you for everyday wear out in the rain. And it's got a matte black dial, green luminescent Arabics with light brown lume dots. It's got a green loomed cathedral style hands, which are beautiful cathedral style hands on this. The loom, I'll put a loom shot on here. The loom is pretty good. It's initially very bright. It does fade off, but you know, again, it's not a dive watch. It's got the old style loom, so it looks the right part aesthetically. Now, I really like the crown. The crown is unsigned. It's got some knurling on the sides that's quite easy to grip, and it's polished on the outside. However, it's a really large crown that's easy to wind. Now, because it's not screw-in, it does mimic a normal manual wind watch rather than an automatic. So you know, you initially in the standard position can wind the watch. There is a ghost position next because it's an NH35A that would have the date, but you pull it into the second position and you can set the time. I do think it's a great size and easy to grab hold of even with gloves. They've done a really nice job with the case back. I can see that they've got a decagon shaped to match the original A11, and they've got the engraving of Praesidus Type A-11, Tom Rice, 101st Airborne Division, June 6, 1944, the lost watch of the day. It's got a issue number of 710 in my case, and it mentions assembled in the USA with imported parts, automatic movement. It's a screw down case back. It's quite plain apart from that. You'd need one of those rubber balls to unscrew it, but I've done a really nice job of engraving it and making it look personal, which matches the image I put earlier on of the Waltham case back. I'll show you the watch outside and some natural light shots. You'll be able to see a little bit of that blue anti-reflective hue. So my final thoughts on the watch are, I think it's a really well-made reissue. I think it's very true to the original from the research that I've done. I think it comes with a couple of really solid options of straps, but because you've got those quick release straps and you've got drilled lugs, you can pretty much put it on any 22mm straps. I think the marketing and the story of it is really quite nice, and I think that with the donation to the War Veteran Associations, I think it's a company that really should get behind. Value for money wise, I think at under $200, it's a really great bargain. So I would urge you to go out and purchase one. It's really quality made. Okay, thanks for your time. See you next time. Bye.